Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be listening to this, the latest episode of the Curated Culture. I am your gracious, humble host, Rob, aka Robbie Diesel, and I want to thank y'all for checking out the latest episode of the pod. Yeah, yeah. So, we're doing things new around these parts, right? I did the main part of the last episode. This week, I'm doing the full episode of the podcast, not only in audio form, but also video. So now you guys can see me as my thoughts process and as I goof up and as I stumble over my words. The audio is going to be definitely reformed and refined. The video is probably going to be a rough cut. So you'll hear me stammer, you'll hear me start over. It is what it is. Firstly, I have managed to make myself a wee bit more presentable. We got a little merch going on with the Curated Culture Lounge hoodie. This actually is a one of one. You can only get this boy in black or gray on the site, which we'll link to that shortly. But yeah, man, big things, big things are happening. Big things are happening. I'm very excited for 2026 with the podcast, with the brand, the whole shot. Firstly, on a personal note, we passed a huge milestone over on YouTube. We finally got to 1,000 subs. We actually got past 1,000 subs on YouTube. And man, I've been working on that for such an incredibly long time. And to finally pass it just feels absolutely surreal. And how it happened was pretty cool because I literally been dreaming about it happening exactly how it happened. I'm not going to rehash that. If you want to hear that whole story, you need to check out my 1,000 subscriber video over on YouTube. It'll also be up on the socials pretty soon. But man, what a journey. What an exciting, thrilling ride. So, yes, we got a lot of really cool, fun stuff planned for you in 2026. And in order to keep up with all of it, you, of course, got to make sure that you're following along with the brand. So, naturally, however you're hearing the sound of my super smooth, velvety voice, or however you happen to be seeing my beautiful brown face, make sure you're subscribed. No matter how you get your podcast delivered to you, you can subscribe to the show. If you're watching this over on YouTube right now, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Join the 1,000 plus that are already enjoying this content. You can also follow us over on social media via at The Curated Culture on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. And you can also follow me, your boy, personally via at Robbie Diesel, all over the place. Just search for Robbie Diesel or The Curated Culture or both, and we will be there. We up in there. Also, make sure you're checking us out again on YouTube, youtube.com/Robbie Diesel. And then, of course, the site, thecuratedculture.com, for all my written ramblings, Comic Con reviews, and all that fun stuff. There's literally something for everybody over there. So today's show is going to be a little bit of a fun one, a little deep dive. Y'all seem to enjoy my rants. So this is definitely a rant because we are 1 year, almost 1 year into the presidency of Donald Trump, the second one. And yeah, it's just an absolute dumpster fire. You know what I mean? Like everything is going to shit. Everything is terrible, but we're still making it. And this episode, I want to talk about something specifically that was very loud and very proud in the beginning of his term. And that was him rolling back a lot of DEI protections. And that sparked a debate about DEI and more importantly, why it all of a sudden became such a nasty, terrible thing. We're going to unpack that for sure this episode. So I think I should stop bumping my gums and we should just go ahead and get right into it, right? Yeah, let's do it. So lately, I've been sitting back, paying attention, quietly listening. I'm not arguing, I'm not debating, I'm not retweeting and quote tweeting complete and total strangers who, for some reason, have like a Roman statue avatar. I'm not doing any of that. Just listening, sitting back, and I'm observing. And at some point, while I'm just sitting back and chilling, I come across this random ass thought process and for the life of me, I can't figure it out. I'm seeing it at work, I'm hearing it in podcasts, I'm reading it in comment sections, and even in family group chats, man. Like, I keep hearing the same shit, I keep seeing the same shit. Somehow, DEI has been transformed into the goddamn devil. It's like the boogeyman. I keep seeing how bad DEI is, how it ruined everything, how it went too far. And I'm like, what? How? How? And nobody is able to really fully finish those sentences. Nobody finishes the thought. They talk about DEI like it's Beetlejuice. Like Like if you say DEI three times in a boardroom, a black woman, a qualified black woman is going to materialize, and then your bonuses are gone. Your jobs, poof, they're out of there. And I'm not mad about it because America is what America has always been. But I am fascinated, very fascinated, because whenever I ask the follow up, what do you actually mean when you say DEI is bad? What do you mean by that? People don't get louder. They get quieter. Because I saw this article, or I read this thing, I saw a headline, or I saw it on Fox. And it's like confronting the truth makes people spiritually uncomfortable. Because the thought DEI is bad, that's not an actual argument. It's just that. It's just a thought. Because when I hear that, I immediately go, bad how? Bad for who? Bad compared to what exactly? And throughout this time that I'm asking people this question, the pattern that I continually keep noticing is that when people say DEI is bad, what they really usually mean is that I don't recognize the rules anymore. I don't feel automatically safe here. I used to know where I stand, but now I don't. But nobody's saying those things. If you scared, just say so. Instead, they say merit, they say standards, they say best person for the job. Stop me when you've heard that before. Which is hilarious because, like, the best person for the job has been ignored plenty times in the history of this country. So let's slow this down. Let's look at the thing and let's define the thing like normal human beings. Not from a Trump presser, not from Fox News, not from CNN, nothing like that. Let's just look at what it actually is. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All it is it's about making sure that marginalized groups are treated fairly and have access to the same opportunity that mostly white men have historically had by default. That's it. Not a shortcut, not a cheat code, not a LinkedIn glitch where diversity hires just start spawning out of nowhere. Nobody's hitting a button like hire the blacks. That's not how this works. That's just how people imagine it works when they are actually scared. They're afraid. You see, DEI itself does not guarantee you a job. It doesn't say you get the job. It just simply implies that you get a real, actual shot at it. And somehow that became controversial, which is wild because, again, historically, America loves competition, just not when everybody is allowed to compete. Boy, when that playing field gets leveled, oof, people hate that. When they have to sit in the same room with people who are just as qualified as them, and those people just so happen to be a different skin color or a different religion, all of a sudden everybody want to start screaming reverse racism. It's reverse racism. It is funny because when you hear that, it sounds like people think they actually think they solve racism just by flipping it over. DEI is reverse racism. So, okay, let's translate it. What people usually mean when they're throwing out the reverse racism, the DEI stuff, all that, what they're saying, what they usually mean is that I'm not used to not being the default. I don't like that I have to explain myself now. I miss when my resume spoke louder before I opened my mouth. Oh boy. And that's not, let's throw it out there. Let's keep it a beam. That's not oppression, guys. You're not being oppressed. That's pressure. And this confusion about what is and what isn't is not just happening online. It's completely mainstream now. The current president of the United States, your president, he literally said recently that civil rights protections caused white people to be treated very badly. What? Let that breathe for a second. The Civil Rights Act, the thing that literally stopped people from legally being excluded from jobs, from housing, from education. Apparently, that was the injustice. That was the thing that's unfair to whites. Not segregation. Nope. Not the whites only signs. Not being locked out of places completely for literal decades. Equality. Equality is the thing that caused white people to get treated badly. And once you hear that, and when you see people aligning with that type of ideology, the whole conversation suddenly it just snaps into focus. Because you start to realize that we were never and are not currently debating policy, we're debating entitlement. Because that logic, that argument only makes sense when you believe that opportunity is supposed to be reserved. And that's the first place that I gotta laugh. I gotta have a hearty chuckle. Because for decades, marginalized folks got the same damn speech over and over and over on a loop. And we will talk about marginalized people here shortly. We are going to get into that for sure. But we have these groups of people that get constantly told, you just got to work harder. You got to get more degrees. You got to be twice as good as ever. You got to outperform everybody. which is crazy as shit to me. The fact that you have to be exceptional just to be acceptable is wild. But on the flip side, y'all know I love saying that. On the flip side, the moment the system stops leaning one way and starts to kind of get centered so everything is equal and everything is even, no matter if you are Jaquan from the north side of Flint or if you are Jake from Grand Blanc, the moment shit gets even, now it's oh hold on. This feels unfair. It's like, oh, now hard work is the problem? Interesting. Now competition is the issue? Got it. Got it. So now that you have to be evaluated the same exact way everybody else was always told they were be evaluated, that feels like discrimination? Fascinating. Very fascinating. Because when the system works exclusively in your favor, that's called merit. Y'all heard that? We're going to merit based hiring. And the second that it stops working in your favor, the second everything starts to become merit based, you want to scream about being oppressed. And let's be honest, this fear of DEI and inclusion and equity and diversity, that fear is not about being replaced. I think it's more about being exposed. Because when the access opens up, the excuses come down. And here is the part that people hate the absolute most. If fairness feels like punishment, it might just be because you were never actually being tested before. Well, here's my favorite part. A lot of people really, truly, genuinely only hate DEI because they think it only benefits black people, which is just adorable. Now, remember, a few minutes ago, I said we were going to talk about marginalized groups, and we are. We're going to open this thing up because I need y'all to know this one fact, this one truth. Above all else, white women, stay with me now, white women are the largest beneficiary of DEI policies by a mile. That don't sound black at all. Disability accommodations, wheelchair ramps, little button you push to open the doors automatically. That's DEI. Religious protections. Doesn't matter if you worship Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad. That's DEI. If you need to take a break in the middle of your workday to go pray, that is DEI in action. Did you happen to get wounded defending this country's freedom, defending my right to say all the shit that I'm saying right now? You a wounded vet, you disabled vet, all those veterans protections that you get. Bingo. DEI. You old as hell and you want to work somewhere around a bunch of young people, guess what? Age discrimination safeguards, also DEI. If you ever needed any kind of flexibility or protection or understanding at work, congratulations, DEI has already helped you. Don't sound black, do it. You just didn't notice because nobody was telling you to be mad about that. Nobody was being mad about paternity leave or maternity leave, mental health exceptions. All of those things fall under the umbrella of DEI. It is not specifically and particularly about race, but somehow that's what it got turned into. And another thing that frustrates me is how, after a while, we kind of bastardize the whole concept of DEI. Like corporations of all sorts, all of corporate America turned DEI into fucking decor. Rainbow logos and mandatory trainings were front and center, but behind the scenes, there was no actual power changes. Equity was not gained. Showmanship was at an all time high, but nothing changed behind the scenes. And that's not justice. That's just marketing. And then on the other side, you got people making a full time living convincing you that DEI is the reason that your life sucks. Not wages, not the cost of healthcare, not rent. Nah, none of those things are making your life miserable. It was that goddamn diversity seminar. How dare they? You see, a lot of people, most people, never actually cared about equality. They just cared about optics. And some people don't care about fairness, they just care about comfort. Different hustles, same exact lie. And the funniest thing, especially when it comes to being a minority, specifically being black in white spaces, it is the most comical shit in life. And you have to laugh about it because, like, being black in a predominantly white space is uncomfortable in ways that you almost have to experience to believe. Like the shit that I put up with on the reg is just absolutely insane. Like the questions are my favorite. Like sometimes it's just sitting there minding your business, or you're sharing stories about your family, and the question always comes up. Somebody feels compelled to ask. So was was your dad around? It's like, sir, we are at a networking mixer right now. What? Or my personal favorite. I get this all the time. My personal favorite is you speak so well. My God, you speak eloquent. This is like, well, yeah, yeah. So do you. We both went to school, both graduated. We understand what vowels are. I love seeing at all times. I love seeing the interactions with my sisters, especially when you decide to wear your hair like curly, like kinky twists and stuff like that. And y'all already know what's about to happen. Like some complete stranger that you've never met is like, oh my God, I love your hair. You have a small panic attack because you got somebody massaging your scalp without consent, mind you. And it makes you feel weird, like you're an exhibit. And those are the funny things. Because sometimes it's not funny. Sometimes it's literally walking past somebody in close proximity and seeing them physically jump out of their skin like you just spawned out of nowhere. Sometimes it's people telling you to smile more so you don't look as threatening. Smile more so they can feel comfortable around you. That's the part that DEI conversations never capture. Not the policies, not the tension. It's just the way you are constantly managing other people's comfort just to exist. And now here's the craziest thing about all of this is even if every company in America right now implemented their strongest, most diverse, most robust DEI policies they've ever had, DEI still will not fix the problems that capitalism causes. It will not fix bad leadership. It will not heal resentment. It won't make people emotionally mature. DEI cannot fix a system that people refuse to interrogate, that people refuse to change. The more things change, the more they stay the same. All it can do is remove the excuse. And boy, some folks was really attached to that excuse. So let me say this plainly, especially the white men who want DEI gone. Nothing is being taken from you. Nobody is stealing your job. Nobody is erasing your work ethic. Nobody's rewriting your achievements. That stays. What is being removed is the assumptions. The assumption that you belong before you speak. The assumption that you are competent before you're even tested. The assumption that your presence needs no explanation. That's it. And I think that's what actually hurts. Because for the first time, you are actually being asked to stand on the same grounds that everybody else has been standing on the whole damn time. With no head start, with no invisible boost, with no benefit of the doubt. Just the work, just the resume, just the results. And if that feels threatening, if that feels like something is being taken from you, then maybe what you're mourning isn't fairness. Maybe what you're mourning is advantage. Because ultimately, equality doesn't punish effort. It stops rewarding complacency. It stops rewarding comfort. So when you say DEI needs to be eliminated, you need to ask yourself, honestly, are you protecting excellence? Or are you protecting a system where you never had to ask why you or your buddies were already inside of the room? And before you answer that, ask yourself one last thing. Who do you think DEI is protecting you from? Because if the answer is honestly people who are just as capable as me, then, buddy, that's not fear of discrimination. That's a fear of competition. And that's something that no policy will ever fix. All right, guys, that's it. That's this week's episode. I appreciate y'all checking this one out, man. I know we went a little heavy this time around. The last couple of shows been a little heavy. So I think what we're going to do, I think the next time around, next week, we're going to dive into some lighter, fun content, maybe. Maybe if your president does something stupid and full of jackassery, then we'll probably be right back here next week. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to lighten it up for y'all. In the meantime, in between time, again, I appreciate y'all checking this out. If you like what you hear, man, make sure you interact with it. However, you're hearing the sound of my super smooth, velvety voice or seeing my beautiful brown face, interact with the show. Throw me a like, drop a comment. What was your favorite part of the show? What were your thoughts on it? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. I see everything and I will generally respond to everything all the time. Make sure that y'all are supporting us, man. Check out the brand, thecuratedculture.com. There's a link on there where you can actually buy merch. There's t-shirts, there's hoodies, the whole shot available on there. Make sure you're checking us out at The Curated Culture on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. You can also check me out personally via at Robbie Diesel all over the place. Jump on over to youtube.com/Robbie Diesel and sub up over there. We passed 1,000. I want to bring that back. Can we bring this back? We passed 1,000 subs over on YouTube, but 1,000 is not the ultimate goal. I want to keep continuing to grow this thing out. So maybe we can turn it into something special, a little micro community, if you will. I appreciate y'all, man, so much. I cannot thank you enough for checking me out and for supporting me. And I will continue to work my little cheekies off as long as y'all are interested. And yeah, man, we'll build this thing on up. Full faith and confidence in that. I am your gracious, humble host, Rob, aka Robbie Diesel, and I will catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.